Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tioncrochet.com and yarncraftsandcoffee.com. Today we're going to be making a really easy ear warmer worked in simple half double crochet stitches and made in a rectangle. I've shared about my 2024 mystery crochet along. Week 1 was about the Haylee ear warmers, and I shared it in worsted weight and lightweight. These are the same stitch pattern, but I have the chunky weight over here on the right. That's a number 5 weight yarn, and on the left a number 6 super chunky weight yarn. So if you prefer working with a lighter yarn, you can find the links to those earwarmer tutorials in the description box below. I'm really excited to add these 2 pieces to get 4 different weights of yarn, so you can pretty much pick up any yarn that you have in your stash and work up a nice cozy, easy earwarmer. This video is going to be all about making the super chunky version here. I've used Lion Brand Wool-Ease Thick and Quick. This color is called Barley, and I just love the tweed effect. Together with this super chunky yarn, you're going to want to have an M13 9mm crochet hook. Lion Brand Wool-Ease is a wool blend, so if you are allergic to wool, I will have some alternatives linked down in the description box below. Now, if you don't have any super chunky yarn in your stash, you can hold together 2 to 3 strands of your favorite worsted weight yarn. Gauge is not terribly essential for this project. The finished length is what's important, and you can adjust that as you go by working more rows or less rows to get there. The height is not as essential, as you just need it tall enough to cover your ears. This ear warmer is worked widthwise here. After about 4 to 6 rows, you're going to be able to measure from the edge of the left side across the center to the edge of the right side, and you're going to have the finished height of your ear warmer. So if you'd like it to be a thinner band, you would work less stitches, and if you want it to be a thicker band, you would work more stitches. There is no stitch multiple for half double crochet, so you can subtract or add in any number that you like. Once you get all the rows complete, you'll measure from the bottom edge all the way up to the top edge. This one has already been seamed, but you'll have a long rectangle, and that's what's going to be essential to fit your head circumference. You're going to want it to measure 2 to 2.5 inches smaller than your head circumference, so you can easily take out rows or add rows if you need it to be longer or shorter. I am going to be showing you how to use one of my favorite joining techniques called the pull loop through join. It creates this really pretty twisted ridge detail here, but it blends in so well with the wrong side of the fabric that you almost don't even notice it. I don't really enjoy hand sewing that much, so by using this method, I'm able to crochet the very last row and join it to the very first row at the same time. So I will show you how to work this technique. If you prefer using a different method like a mattress stitch or a whip stitch, you can do that too. In that case, you're going to work the full length. If you're working the pull loop through method, you'll work one less row so that you can work that last row and join at the same time. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a slip knot, so I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here. I'm going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times and then hold tension down here with my thumb and my middle finger. Pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the one on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Grab my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. I'll hold the working yarn in my right hand. Short tail in my left, I'm going to pull that so this knot goes to normal tension. We're going to begin with a chain. To chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Each time we do that, we get one of these V shapes. 1, 2, 3 chains. We don't count the loop that's on our hook. I'm going to go ahead and put up a chart that shows how many chains you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. Now that we have our chain complete, we're going to half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Again, we don't count the loop that's on our hook. 1, 2, 3 chains. In the center of that chain, we're going to work our first half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Right now we have 3 half double crochets complete that we've worked together. You can look to the top of those and see that V shape there. That's how you can count them really easily. Over here where we started, we skipped a couple chains and worked into the 3rd one. Those skipped chains there are also going to count as a stitch. So even though we worked 3 half double crochets, we add that as a stitch and we have 4 stitches in total. Continue half double crocheting into each chain all the way across to the end. Here I've reached the end and I have all my stitches complete. The total amount of stitches that you're going to have for this row is going to be 1 less than what you started with when you chained. For row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to half double crochet into this very first stitch and each stitch all the way across. Yarn over, insert your hook right into the center of that stitch, picking up both loops of the V shape at the top, then complete your half double crochet. And continue half double crocheting into each stitch. At the end, we are going to work our last stitch into that beginning chain that we skipped. So once I get there, we'll do that together. Here at the end, it looks like we've completed our row, but we actually have 1 more stitch left to work into, and that's going to be the beginning chain, where we skipped those 2 stitches and worked into the 3rd one. So the very next stitch that you're going to see here is a chain, and you're going to see the back bump there from the back of the chain. Then right underneath that is going to be the 2nd chain, and the 3rd chain is where that first half double crochet is worked. So that first chain there, the next stitch that's available to work into, that's where we're going to half double crochet. So you're going to insert right into the center of that chain and complete your half double crochet. And now row 2 is complete. And the shaping is off a little bit right here, but as you continue working, that's going to even out. All the remaining rows are going to be worked the same. You're going to start with a chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to half double crochet into that very first stitch and half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. When you get to the end, you'll work into a half double crochet the same as all the rest of the stitches. And for all these rows, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you had here in row 1, which is just 1 stitch less than the number of chains that you created. I have 5 rows complete here. To count your rows, you're going to look for the texture to differentiate between them. Down here at the bottom, the stitches look prettier and more defined. That's going to be the right side or the front side. Above that for row 2, the stitches are more textured, they're less defined. That's going to be the wrong side or the back side. Above that, you'll see the pretty side again, and above that, you'll see the textured side. You'll use this to help you with counting the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or the further I get, I count by 2s, and I just look for that raised up textured row, and I'll count 2, 4, 6, and so on. After you get about 4 to 6 rows complete, that's going to be the finished width of your ear warmer. So you can take your soft tape measure, you can measure the width from the edge of the left side all the way across to the edge of the right side up here at the top. So if you wanted a thinner ear warmer, you would work less chains and less stitches. And if you wanted a thicker band, then you would work more chains and more stitches. So if you wanted to take this out and rework it, you'll just want to make sure you work 4 to 6 rows so that you can get an accurate width measurement. I'm going to be showing you how to join using a technique called pull loop through, and that involves working the final row as you're joining to the beginning. So I'm going to put up a chart that's going to show how many rows in total you're going to need depending on the size that you're working, and it's going to have 2 different numbers. So it will say with pull loop through method and it will say with other method. So if you don't want to do this pull loop through technique, then you can work all the rows up and then join using a different method like a whip stitch or a mattress stitch, whatever your preferred joining method is. I don't really enjoy hand sewing, so I use the pull loop through method so that I can crochet the ends together and then just weave in my ends after. Now that we have all our rows complete, again, if you're going to do the pull loop through method with me, then you're one row short. But if you're going to whip stitch or mattress stitch or use another join method, then you have added that extra row. You're going to want to lay this out flat and measure from the bottom edge all the way across to the top edge, and make sure that this is long enough before you continue, because you can always add extra rows here, or if it's too long you can take rows out. But I recommend you go ahead and measure now, make sure you're in the right ballpark. If you still need to add that extra row to complete it for the pull loop through join, just take that into consideration. But if you're not measuring correct now, then the finished ear warmer is not going to fit correctly. I am going to be turning when I start this next row, so I'm going to flip it upside down. And then you're going to find the center and you're going to fold it in and bring that other edge together. I do like to match up the ends. So here you can see that that's the right side. When I flip this over, it's also the right side. But when I work that last row in here to join it, it'll be from the wrong side. So it will alternate that pattern in there and complete it. This way, as you're wearing it, it looks seamless. To work the last row so that we can do the pull loop through join, I'm going to start with the chain 1 and turn. And I'm going to turn the entire ear warmer around. Half double crochet as normal into this very first stitch. Pull up a loop so I don't lose it. I like to hold on to that in between my fingers. Then I'll pull my hook out and go into the very first stitch that's here. And you want to remember that the two layers are coming together in this manner, so that's how you want to join the two layers as well. So I'm working into the top here, which is the outside part, the top of that very first stitch that's connected to my beginning tail end. And that goes from that outside layer to the inside of it. Then I'm going to reinsert my hook into that loop, pull it down to normal tension, and then pull it through that stitch. And now the two layers here are connected by this stitch. So then I'll go into the very next stitch of my current row, half double crochet as normal, pull up on that loop, hold on to it in between my fingers and pull it off my hook. Then I'll go into the very next stitch on that other layer. Again, we want to join it just as it's laying here. So through the top layer into that next stitch, and then pick up the loop on my hook, bring it down to normal tension, and pull it through the stitch. So when you're looking at it, you're just working along there as it naturally lays together. So I've removed the hook from this stitch here, and I'm just going into that very next stitch right in the center of it from that outside layer into the center. Then I'll grab that loop back on my hook, pull it down to normal tension, and pull it through. Half double crochet as normal into the next stitch, pull up the loop, hold on to it, pull the hook out, go into the very next stitch on that second layer, put the loop back on it, pull it down to normal tension, pull it through. And you can see that it has this little twisted join here. I really like that little detail. And you're just going to go ahead and continue working all the way down to complete this row. And now I'm going to go ahead and fasten off with a tail end long enough here that I can comfortably weave in. Pull up on this last loop to break it, and then I'll grab my tapestry needle. I'm going to be weaving my ends in with my tapestry needle. I find that the way that the yarn from Wool Ease Thick and Quick is split up here, the two strands, they're very easy to put into my tapestry needle. So I am going to use my tapestry needle to weave these in, but you can also use a small crochet hook like this G6 4.25mm hook to weave your ends in. You mostly just want one that has a deep throat here that can easily grab onto your strand of yarn and pull it through. I will link a tutorial down in the description box below, but I'm not going to show how to do it with this. I'm also just using a regular tapestry needle, but if you have bent tip tapestry needles, those are going to be a lot better when working with a chunky yarn like this. One tool that is going to make this a lot easier is a pair of jewelry pliers, so I'm going to have that handy. I'm going to go ahead and trim up the end. I like to flatten it in between my fingers. And I'm keeping it nice and tight in there. Putting my needle up where the yarn's going to start and then start pushing it through. And then I'll grab it from the other side and pull it the rest of the way. And now I'm going to go ahead and weave this in. So here it's coming out of the top right from the back side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this needle down from the front here to the back along the side edge of that last row there on the left. I'm going to bring this to the back side. That's where I'm going to be weaving in my end on the back side. So right in between that last stitch there. And instead of pulling through with my fingers, it's going to be a little bit tough. I'm going to grab my jewelry pliers. I'm going to put the flat side onto my needle and grab it. And then I'm going to hold on to the stitch in between my fingers and then gently pull the needle through, twisting it if I need to. Be careful as you do this because if you pull too hard and the needle is stuck, it will break the eye of your needle. Once you get it through, put the jewelry pliers on the side and pull it the rest of the way. Now if you needed your end to stay on the front side because you were going to weave on the front side, you could just bring it back up through where it originally came through and pull from the back. But I'm going to go ahead and weave my end in on that back side. When I enter and exit, I'm not going to pick up the whole entire stitch on my needle. Instead, I'm going to insert my needle into the center of it to break it in half, and that's going to help to capture my yarn better. So I'm going to insert here in a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, and I'm going to run vertically through the bulkiness there of the seam or of one of the rows, whichever side you're on. When I exit that last stitch here up at the top, I'm going to break it in half. I'm going to hold on to the fabric in between my fingers. The easiest way to pull this through with the pliers is if the eye of your needle is facing you so you can see directly down it. Push it through. Grab your jewelry pliers. Use the flat part here to grab your needle. I'm still holding on to the fabric in between my fingers and then I'm pulling it through. Once it's through, put those down and pull it the rest of the way. I'm going to give it a tug at the end. It's going to bunch up my fabric. Then I'm going to use my fingers to come back here and manipulate the fabric so that it will lay naturally, not distorting my stitches at all. And then I'll rotate this, insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, run vertically through several of those same stitches I just finished working into, break my last stitch in half when I exit, have the eye of the needle facing you so you can see down it, push it up, hold onto the fabric in between my fingers, grab my pliers, grab the needle, wiggle it through, pull the rest of the way, give it a tug, manipulate the fabric if you need to. I like to do 3 passes, that's my magic number. If you feel comfortable after 2, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work a 4th one, you can do that too. Insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, run vertically through several of the same stitches, break the last stitch in half when I exit. Eye of the needle facing me, push it through, grab my pliers, hold onto the fabric in between my fingers, wiggle it through, pull it the rest of the way, give it a tug, manipulate the fabric. And now I'm happy. I'm going to go ahead and fasten off. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repeat the process. I did have to attach new yarn here, so I'm going to go ahead and weave that in the same way on the back side and that other tail end that I have. And as soon as I'm done weaving in my ends, I'll just flip it to the right side facing and it's ready to go. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I would love to know what yarn you're using to make your ear warmer out of. I'm always on the hunt for really nice, super chunky yarns. So please drop me a comment below to let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button to let YouTube know that you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel while you're there. Pop down into the description box below for the link to this ear warmer pattern, as well as links to other ear warmer tutorials, and the link to my 2024 mystery ear warmer crochet along. I'll catch you guys next time.